Keálan.
Keálan?
Yep.
Pleased to meet you, man. My name's Cliff. I normally ask people some questions.
Yep.
Would you be cool with that, or would you rather
No
just...
problem, go ahead.
Right, so first question would be animals in general. What do you think of them?
I love them. I'm a big animal lover. My dog's dead now, but I did have a dog, and I miss her every day.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
I've lost several animals, and yeah, I love them like children. And
Yep.
when you lose them, it's freaking gutting. Animal abuse, or people who abuse animals. What do you think of that?
People who abuse animals don't deserve a place in our world, I don't believe.
I agree with you. I do not want to share the planet with people like that as well. What would you classify as abuse?
Anything that makes an animal uncomfortable. For example, like you would have people, like I'm up here from Derry.
Yeah.
And there was a fella recently. We pit bull, or so I'm not sure what breed it was, but I had it with bricks.
Heartbreaking, man. And the thing is, he didn't even kill them. I think he broke their jaw and broke like several bones in their body, and then buried them. And then somebody found the wee dog and had to take it to get euthanized at the vet. So, I mean, people like that, man. I'd euthanize them, to be quite honest. Like somebody like that is evil beyond compare. Couple more questions. So somebody kicking a dog here now, or kicking a cat, or hurting an animal in front of you, what would you think of that, or what would you do about it?
I wouldn't know what to think. Definitely have to get the police involved, I think.
You might even put yourself in harm's way to protect the animal, yeah?
I would say I would.
I'd be the same. I just see animals as completely innocent. I see them like children, and they deserve to be protected, and people who impose harm onto them, or people who deliberately harm animals, for me, are just bad people. No good person would ever hurt an animal. The last question's harder and it's trickier, but I'm not judging you, man. Honestly, I'm not.
Yeah.
But you'll find it trickier to answer, or you probably will. So what about the animals that we typically eat and the ones that we wear? What do you think of that? And I'm not trying to catch you out, by the way, because I paid for it for a long time too. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, of course, I'm not. I do eat meat. I'm not vegetarian, but it's the way that some animals are treated before, because there's a humane way to euthanize an animal.
I'm going to question you that in a second, but I'll let you finish what you're going to say first.
Humans have been eating animals for sorry,
I know.
I mean the language. We've been eating animals for thousands of millions of years.
Yeah.
So
I know we have, man, but first of all, and again, I'm not coming with judgment here. I'm just trying to inform people. It's 2023 now. Mm-hmm. I'm 56. I haven't eaten an animal product since I was 19. So you can survive and thrive on a plant-based diet. Yeah. The science says you can as well. Mm-hmm. You can get all the protein and calcium and B12 and everything you need from a plant-based diet. So you're taking away the necessity. So there's no necessity to it. I know you've always been taught, like I was when I was young, I thought I had to drink milk for calcium and eat chicken for protein and all that stuff. But you absolutely do not. Many top-level athletes are eating a vegan diet. Yeah. So if they can do it, you and me can do it as well. So if you take away the necessity of eating and wearing animal products, then what would be the excuse? What would be the reason?
I think,
apart from what you've always known and what you've been taught.
Well, I mean, people love eating animals. It's nothing you can really do. It's not really ever going to change, I don't think. Just there's no way to get around it, really. Obviously.
Well, I've got answers for every point you're going to make, by the way. And I'm not trying to be smart. So. Say everybody was being racist or sexist or homophobic or all those things that we know are already bad, and you're against those things. Yeah. What do you think that you can do about it?
Me individually, I'm not too sure what I can do.
You abstain. Yeah. So if somebody's being racist, you're not going to be racist as well. So if somebody's harming animals or paying somebody else to harm animals, just because everybody else does it doesn't mean to say you have to pay for it as well. You can say, well, I'm not cool with that. I can remove myself from that and therefore my money, because when you go into a shop and buy an animal product, I guarantee you're paying somebody to do something to animals that you would never do yourself. Have you ever been to a slaughterhouse, for example, or been on a farm?
I've never been to a slaughterhouse. We would regularly shop in the butchers, but I think the reason why, because as you say, we don't see what goes on, we don't see what happens to them, and I think maybe that's if a lot of people were more aware of how animals were slaughtered, and definitely a lot of animals aren't.
100% agree with you, man. done farm investigations and vigils at slaughterhouses. I've been there and listened to it and filmed it and spent time with animals before they go in. Like, can I tell you one thing that we do to one sort of animal in a slaughterhouse here in this country? And I guarantee you'll be shocked by it. So there's 2 pig slaughterhouses in Northern Ireland. There's one in Cookstown and one in Ballymena. Do you know what we do to the pigs when they arrive?
I don't know what goes on.
Would you be shocked to find out we put them in gas chambers?
I can't say I would be, because I'd never really looked into it myself.
What do you think of that? Putting animals in. Can you imagine your dog, for example, being put into a gas chamber and how you'd feel about that?
I wouldn't want to think about it.
Yeah. So if you see those pigs, when you see them arrive, pigs are smarter than dogs. Scientific fact. So it's human beings first, dolphins, corvids. Fourth is pigs. The pigs are as smart as a 3 or 4 year old human child. So when they arrive on the trucks, they hear the screaming inside and they have figured out something bad's happening. They don't want to go inside. They're forced inside and they stand in line. And have to stand in line and listen to animals being gassed in front of them, and then they're shackled and their throats are cut as they're coming conscious again, because pigs have to bleed out. So they have to be alive. So the gassing is to make them unconscious. What do you think of that? If that was a dog, what would you think of that? And do you think it's any different for the victim, in this case, which is a pig?
In terms of it, when you think about it like that, in the pigs dying in gas chambers, it's not a pleasant image, of course. I think, me personally, I believe that there's far less humane ways to kill an animal that do really happen in the world.
I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to say, so you're talking about humane slaughter.
Yeah.
The word humane, that's an oxymoron, by the way, fed to you by the industry, and I'm not saying you're a sucker. What I'm saying is we all believe that something humane can happen to animals in a slaughterhouse. So the word humane means benevolence. It means to care for somebody or be kind to them. What does the word slaughter mean? It means to kill somebody in a violent fashion. How would you kindly take somebody's life from them when they don't want to die?
Well, I don't think there is a kind way to kill anything, but
so there's no humane way to kill anybody, especially if maybe euthanasia.
Yeah, something painless, something that lets the animal go with peace.
And that would be euthanasia.
Yeah.
If they'd broken a leg or were badly hurt or had cancer or something like that, and put them out of their suffering, then I'm completely fine with that. But these animals are young animals. Those pigs are gassed at 6 months old. Baby lambs are killed at 16 weeks old. So somebody can eat lamb for Sunday dinner. Let me put it to you this way, you'll never have thought of it this way before. So if I came into your house at night and you were sound asleep, and I had a gun, and I put the gun to your head and I blew your brains out and you didn't know a thing about it, you didn't feel any pain, you didn't suffer at all, would you consider that to be humane?
Well, I couldn't consider it anything because I'm dead. Yeah. But if there was 100% that I had to die, I would rather be. So I don't know.
Yeah. But that's different. Those animals don't have to die. They don't even have to be bred into existence in the first place. But they're bred into existence to live a horrible, shitty life for a few months at best, and then they're sent to a gas chamber. You know, man, there's vegan products in every shop now for everything. I'm sure have you seen them? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you tried any of them?
I've probably tried most of the pig products out there. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I do eat animal products regularly, but that's just how I was raised. I was never raised around any anti-animal cruelty.
Yeah. I was raised that way too, by the way. Like I say, I loved animals from I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and I lived my entire life thinking, well, I gave up milk at 5, I stopped eating pork at 7, I stopped eating fish at 6, but I was still eating chicken right up until I was 19 years old, and then I met a vegetarian and I was like, I didn't even realise, I'm 56 months, it's a long time ago before the internet, the information wasn't out there. I thought I had to eat animal products as part of my diet to survive. And that was like a revelation to me. And then I watched a speech on YouTube about 10 years ago. I didn't realise how cruel the dairy industry was, for example. Not dairy where you're from, the milk. Dairy, yeah. Do you know how it operates, or have you any idea?
Not that I've seen many documentaries and things about how it's It is cruel.
The dairy industry is terribly cruel, and like even on the level of the baby boys in the dairy industry are a waste product. Herds of dairy cows you see in the fields, they're all females. Nobody ever asks where the boy calves are. They're all sold for cheap meat products or for veal. Or some of them are just killed on the day they're born. So about 120 to 150,000 are killed on the day they're born on farms, shot in the head. Some farmers hit them over the head with a spade or a shovel just to dispose of them. And that's cruel when you can just go into Starbucks and put oat milk in your coffee instead, coconut milk in your cereal. And you can live with an easy conscience and know that you're not paying. Man, if you love animals, for me, I love animals and I don't want to pay somebody to do that. So if I can abstain from that, then I feel like I sleep at night with an easy conscience and know that I'm not paying people to do those things when I wouldn't do them myself. Have you ever thought of that way before?
Well, there's a lot of things that I would pay someone that I wouldn't do myself, because when I think about it like this, whenever I eat an animal product, I'm just eating it for sustenance. Whenever I eat something, there's no advertisement, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like a meat vendor wouldn't advertise any of the things that they do behind the scenes.
Of course.
So when I'm eating an animal product...
That's why I'm out here, by the way. There's not many people out here telling people the truth of what actually happens. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to fight back against that indoctrination, you know?
Yeah, so whenever I'm eating an animal product, it's for 99% of the population, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I think that's why it's so easy for people to buy and eat animal products. Yeah.
You're taught not to think about it. But man, I guarantee you, as an animal lover, if I could take you to that slaughterhouse and you could see how those pigs suffer and you should hear them screaming, if you could hear that, man, I don't think for a second you would eat another pork product in your entire life, because it's absolutely terrible. It's really, really, really bad.
And I would hate to ever see something like that happen. So whenever I maybe it's me pushing it to the back of my head when I buy.
Yeah, you're taught to not think about it. You're taught when you're young to love some animals, cats and dogs and horses. If somebody shoots a lion, you're meant to get upset. And you're taught that fox hunting's bad and bullfighting's bad. Well, if you think about it, the things that happen to animals in farms and slaughterhouses is no worse than any of those. You're just taught you're taught that it's needed and it's necessary. And it's not needed and it's not necessary.
But you have to look at it as nature. Think about, you see a small animal, like small carnivores anyway. They're eating insects and they're eating animals smaller than them. It's the food chain.
Well, it is for them because, first of all, we're not carnivores. We're omnivores or possibly herbivores who have adapted to eat meat. A carnivore has to eat another animal to survive, so there's no question of necessity there. If they don't eat another animal, they're going to die. You're not in that position. You can just choose to eat something else. And also, you have moral agency, which they don't. So moral agency is, you look at a situation morally and you think, is it okay for me to stab this animal when I can eat something else? Or are they going to suffer because I'm doing that? So as a moral agent, you can decide on right or wrong. So for me, the right decision is if I don't have to make an animal suffer and I can choose something else and have a tasty meal or buy a vegan leather jacket or vegan leather shoes or whatever, and nobody has to suffer, well then for me as a moral agent, I'm going to make that choice. Does that make sense to you? I
understand. Then again, that goes back to my point where people don't know what they're eating. They don't know where it comes from. So there's no moral anything when it comes to
people are not thinking. That's why I'm not judging you, man.
Exactly.
Because I was an animal lover and somebody would judge me, I'd have went, hey, hold on there, buddy, hang on a minute. I didn't know, so I'm out here trying to educate people in a way, and I'm not meaning that. I'm not talking down to you at all, and I'm trying to inspire people to make more compassionate choices. Could I give you a card before you go?
Go ahead.
One sec. So there we go. That's my YouTube down here.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you which one thing. See here at the top, the best speech you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Free to watch on YouTube. It's a guy called Gary Yourofsky. It's a weird name, but look it up sometime, man. 40 minutes long. I watched it 10 years ago. That guy's I watched that 10 years ago. 40 minutes long. It sounds crap, but it's actually really inspiring and a really brilliant. It is the best speech you'll ever hear. Watch it sometime, man. If I've given you something to think about as an animal lover, then maybe that guy will push you a wee bit further.
You've given me something to think about. No, I'll go home and research that. I definitely will.
Watch that speech, man. Gary Yourofsky. Don't forget that name. if you go on YouTube and do the best speech you'll ever hear, he'll come up. He's a bald-headed guy. He's an American Jewish guy. Man, so powerful, and it changed my entire life. So I appreciate you stopping, man. Thank you. Have a good day, buddy.